AunTeaFee about them facts, facts. Did you do your homework? Facts. Your makeup be picture perfect, but your work ethics, don't add up. Pretty picture though. This is AunTeaFee about them. Rest in peace, sir. Did you fail him, Chief Davis? Facts. Are you protecting your Scorpion unit again? Facts. Chief, I don't know how to say it, boo-boo. You got a whole lot of explaining to do. How could so much be going on up under your eyelashes? Them up under your nose. Up under, just in front of, in plain sight. But your makeup pretty, is picture perfect. But the outcome is a fraud. Darling, I'm sorry. So that means, okay, so I'm going to do a reaction. We're going to listen to Memphis Police Chief Sherlin Davis. Should have known the risk. Yeah, because you came from Atlanta. So a lot of that YSL stuff started on your watch. Went undetected on your watch. Boo-boo. So in Atlanta, you had a similar unit called the Red Dogs who did some of the exact same stuff as the Scorpion unit. So these are your instructions. Yeah. Y'all, can y'all hit the like button for me? Before we listen, I'll wait.
2010 strip search to the Red Dog unit. Wow. So they ran around like a pack of red dogs, terrorizing everything and everyone in Atlanta. And this
on her watch.
Terrorizing everything and everyone in Atlanta. And this woman, Sarah Lynn Davis, was in charge of this unit. Wow.
You didn't have a chance, sir.
To be any police officer, no matter where it is in America. And she landed a job as a police chief with this kind of track record.
Picture perfect.
It says a lot. It really, truly does.
So before we listen,
y'all, please tell me what you think of.
Hit the like button, share, subscribe, donate to the channel. I'll wait. So because there is no picture other than Chief Davis, I'm going to set it down and we're going to listen. But I need for y'all to hit the like button for me. Share, subscribe to the channel. Let's go.
Gentlemen, we're going to
shout out to Lisa,
the background of Police Chief Sarah Lynn C.J. Davis. So she wasn't always in Memphis. At one point in time, she was in Atlanta. And just like she had the Scorpion unit, there was one in Atlanta called Red Dog, and they were very aggressive with the people in Atlanta. So, I mean, it seems like everywhere this woman goes, it seems to be disaster following her. So, anyway, as she rose through the ranks of the Atlanta Police Department, Sarah Lynn C.J. Davis spent nearly 18 months overseeing a hyper aggressive street unit. So, this unit in Atlanta was called Red Dog, and it was ultimately disbanded following public backlash after a series of lawsuits. So they were doing pretty much a lot of the same thing the Scorpion unit was doing. They were roughing up the people there in Atlanta. Now, in the wake of Tyree Nichols' death, Davis faced questions over why she would launch a similar team in Memphis, Tennessee, called the Scorpion Unit. Shortly after she arrived to lead the city's police force in 2021, if anyone in Memphis had checked with anyone from the world of police oversight in Atlanta, they would have learned that creating a Red Dog like squad using Red Dog like tactics was now, in the wake of Tyree Nichols' death,
Let's
Davis
listen again.
faced questions over why she would launch a similar team in Memphis, Tennessee,
Right.
called the Scorpion Unit. Shortly after she arrived to lead the city's police force in 2021, if anyone in Memphis had checked with anyone from the world of police oversight in Atlanta, they would have learned that creating a Red Dog like squad using Red Dog like tactics,
what did the Red Dog
inevitably
stand for?
Going to result in police misconduct and violence, said Dan Grossman, an Atlanta attorney who filed several successful lawsuits on the behalf of victims alleged they were roughed up by Red Dog officers. Nichols, 29, was savagely beaten by members of the Scorpion Unit. Right. So we already know about Tyree Nichols. Davis arrived in Memphis as a trailblazer, the first Black woman to lead the police force in this majority Black city, and a vocal advocate for police reform who had testified before the U.S. Senate. Her actions in wake of Nichols' death, which included swiftly firing 5 officers, initially drew praise. But now she faces increasing scrutiny over not just the decision to launch the Scorpion Unit in Memphis, but also her earlier career in Atlanta, where she supervised a disgraced Red Dog unit in 2006 and 2007. The unit had about 30 officers and a mission to flood areas of high crime in Atlanta with overwhelming force. But you know what the problem is? They did the same thing with the Scorpion unit. They claim it's to reduce crime, right? But ultimately, they go after soft targets. Tyree Nichols was a soft target. That's what they did. So that's not going to do anything for crime if you're just going to target a bunch of people that have nothing to do with crime. So the patrolling groups of 4 or 5 officers were notorious for ambushing young men. And we know what young men they mean. Yanking down their pants in public and performing full body cavity searches in a hunt for drugs, an attempt to spread fear, according to a review of lawsuits. Police officers, advocates, and civilian groups, they said they had interviewed plaintiffs and former police oversight officials. Members of the Red Dog were told, just get the job done by whatever means. Stallone Davis, who joined the Red Dog unit in 2007, and said, he said this in an affidavit in 2012. Just get the job done. Go out there, rough them up, shoot them, do whatever. He declined to comment for this article. Over the years, Atlanta settled 10 lawsuits related to the Red Dog unit misconduct, costing taxpayers more than $2 million in settlements, according to NBC News Review. She is just proof of how police departments, when they fire you in one city, they just go to another city and just start working again like it's nothing. When these things happen, where she came out of a police department that had a very destructive and violent unit of officers on the street, I think in instances like this, all of them should get their peace license taken away and they can't go back out and be a cop again. That would cut down on a lot of these problems. But what you're doing is you're shuffling these cops from one precinct to another. And it's very easy for them to get hired even if they kill somebody. They can just go to another county or go to another part of town and get hired again. But this is America's fault, because America for a long time has been very lackadaisical about doing anything to a cop. And now look at the mess that we are looking at today. There was never a time that the Red Dog didn't operate the way that the Red Dog have always operated. Gerald Griggs, a civil rights attorney raised in Atlanta, who is now the president of the NAACP Atlanta chapter. The unit was disbanded in 2011. Davis was still with the department working as a community policing project manager, according to her resume. The Memphis Police Department Scorpion team, which had a similar mission to that of the Atlanta Red Dog Unit, drew similar complaints of excessive force and ultimately suffered the same fate. Davis shut down the Scorpion unit last week. Christina Bmud, the executive director of the Atlanta Citizen Review Board from Scorpion team.
Can y'all hit the like button for me?
Similar mission to that of the Atlanta.
Can y'all hit the like button for me? I'll wait. Hit the like button. AC vendor purchase. Cheese. Super wiki. Thank you. Oh, I cut the whole volume down.
Last week. Christina Bmud, the executive director of the Atlanta Citizen Review Board from 2008 to 2011, said it should have been clear to Davis that a tactical unit like Scorpion was prone to violating people's rights in Memphis, just as the Red Dog unit did in Atlanta. Beamud said that the board's investigation found that Red Dog officers regularly conducted public strip searches at least as far back as 2007 when
searching.
Davis was overseeing the unit.
Strip search.
She knows what can go
Public
wrong.
strip search.
Everybody who is a student of policing in the U.S. knows what can go wrong. Since the 1980s, police departments across the country have launched street crime units in response to concerns about drugs and violence. Many were disbanded after they drew concerns about excessive force and contributed to a loss of public trust. But some cities under pressure to deal with new crime spikes have formed new street units in recent years. And you know what it does prove? That when these cops work in a group, they turn violent and out of control, and there are no rules. They just go out and do whatever they want. So the more of them that group together, the more violent they are. In Memphis, Davis must now steer a police department in crisis under an intense spotlight as a fierce debate grips the city over whether she is the right person to tackle the entrenched violent crime problem and address deep concerns about the police force's culture and tactics. She needs to do more if she wants to keep her job. Memphis City Council member J.B. Smiley Jr. said, she has to right the ship. I don't think you should have, in my opinion, I don't think you should have hired her in the first place. If America was a just place, when you botch up a job really bad, you should not be able to just cross over to another police department at all. Obviously, she came up with that Scorpion unit, and she made the situation worse. It did not help the crime that was going on in Memphis. And I seen a story out there where several people have come forward and they said they were beat up by that same unit that killed Tyree Nichols. And they weren't on drugs and they didn't violate any crime. They didn't do nothing. But that group of men, when they got to
Across the country, Chevy certified service technicians have logged over 1 million combined hours of training. All set. Get a multi-point vehicle inspection when you bring in your Chevy to certified service.
wild dogs.
Sorry.
And you got to think about it. You got a group of men with a badge and a gun, a taser, a nightstick, and You think they're going to go on the street and be civil to the public? Of course they're not. Of course they're not. They're going to do whatever they think they can get away with. So, Davis, the Memphis Police Department, and the Atlanta Police Department did not respond to requests for comment. I mean, this is ridiculous. She should never have been eligible for this job in the first place. So Davis' law enforcement career began in Atlanta when she started as a patrol officer in 1986. She was the only one of two women to graduate from the academy that year, according to a profile in the alumni magazine. St. Leo University in Central Florida, Davis advanced through the ranks, landing the role of a Special Operations Section Commander in June of 2006, according to her resume. In that position, she oversaw several units, including SWAT and narcotics, in addition to the Red Dog Team, according to her Memphis police bio, while the Red Dog Unit heavy-handed tactics would become a focus of scrutiny later. The real crisis to her tenure centered on the narcotics squad. I remember this. In November 2006, 3 officers fatally shot a 92-year-old woman in a botched drug raid, setting off protests and calls for police reform. I remember when that happened. I remember it made the news, and I remember this woman was in her house. Her name was Karen Johnson. Oh boy. 92-year-old woman was in her house and they raided the wrong house and she ended up getting killed. Her family did file suit against the city and they settled for $4.9 million. Davis was also named in that lawsuit along with other police officers who were collectively accused of engaging in a pattern and practice of ignoring and violating the rights of citizens in Georgia, which led to Johnson's killing. The city responded on the behalf of Davis and other high-ranking officials, saying that they were protected by qualified immunity. Isn't that what we've been talking about all this time? See, now you know how she ended up in Memphis. Every little rotten thing this woman was behind in Atlanta, she had qualified immunity. So with qualified immunity, not only is she free from really getting hit with lawsuits, but she is free to have a bad track record and go and work at another police department. And that's exactly what she did. This woman got a terrible police.
Oh,
She got a bad
qualified immunity.
track record. Also named in that lawsuit along with other police officers
Qualified immunity.
who were collectively accused